up game. It's going to be a 3v3 best of 1. And as I said, stage 2 upper bracket match 1 when it comes to the 3v3s. Carney.
All right, we're coming down to it again. Jerry, this is going to be a crazy one because this one is going to determine our second team that is going to be fighting in that top 4.
Yep, it absolutely is. Boba Slurper, previously under the moniker of previous Gen G. In case you're wondering about these players, they are definitely experienced. And these two teams have played against each other so much, but very little of it in existing competition at the moment. So let's see how they stack up. Cyborg, the newest member amongst these 6, taking the brunt of the first bit of damage, but of course as a light, he can just heal that back up. We've got Narcos on the Lewis gun, gets dropped down, but not before Treason on that LH1. I want to call, I made that perfect prediction. Does take out Nagiri. Palmer trades it out though onto Carnifex as a 2 versus 2 with a heavy and a light on each side. We see Boba Slurper bunched up like this on the bottom floor though, and that's dangerous. They resurface through that gateway and bring the Vault with them, but into a crossfire, and there's a deadly one at that. 1 versus 1, and Narcos is the one who comes out the lesser as Cyborg collects both of the kills against Treason and Narcos, wiping up 5 Fears, the newest player on Boba Slurper, making his presence felt.
Yeah, absolutely insane first fight there too, and that is why you are the storied analyst that you are, making those perfect predictions. I mean, especially with these top 2 EMEA teams that you've known for a long time, and it's an honor to be alongside you casting here.
You talk me up too much, but thank you. Yeah, it's gonna work so well for him on this map. It should. Having lost that first fight, maybe I'm not feeling as confident. The M11 coming out from Cyborg is really nice in those brawly situations, so I imagine 5 Fears will want to try and keep Boba Slurper at arm's length.
Yeah, they might want to keep him at arm's length there because you really got to play that range. Like you said, as this fight is kind of slowing down just a little bit, as Team Boba Slurper is trying to keep them as far away from this gap at this point as we can, but Boba Slurper coming in hot with the pedal to the floor, running right into 5 Fears and running through all of them. And 5 Fears, they're going to have another chance at this box again, Jerry, but wow, that was a quick wipe.
Palmer's bringing back the SA-1216, it feels like. I haven't seen this weapon in a hot minute.
Especially against double lights.
Yeah, against double lights is really difficult to make it work. That's really why we've seen it drop out of the meta so much. But clearly, the M11 with that winch as well on Palmer, and you're looking at a Team Boba Slurper that are clearly wanting to brawl, wanting to take this into close quarters. And 5 Fears, this is usually the situation we see them in, guarding on Sector 5 against the spawn. But instead, Boba Slurper holding on high at the moment. And this is so difficult to push because you don't only have to push through Sector 5. It's a 2-layer defense. 5 Fears has to try and cross.
It is definitely that 2-layer defense here. This cross is tough, but they notice that there's not a lot of time left on that point, so Team Boba Slurper is opting to back up just a little bit to try to get a little bit closer to their point just in case any of these invises make it through. But that sonar nade, pinging 1 on the staircase there. Nagos trying to get in, get really aggro here, but he gets taxed on the push from behind there. Now Carnifex and Nagos both down, turning this into a 1v3, and Treason is going to end up just walking in there knowing he doesn't really have too much of a chance in that 1v3, and Team Boba Slurper pretty heavily taking that first box.
Yeah, and Palmer pretty clearly winning the heavy duels here. I do question the decision there by Narcos to chase down Palmer into a close quarters fight when you know you've got the Lewis gun up against the high rate of fire shotgun of the SA-1216 that Palmer carries. But time was a factor there, didn't have as much of a choice in things. They just needed kills however they could get him, or even to just whittle him down as low as possible and force a steal amongst the lights. Either way, we're on the other side of the map now with 5 Fears holding control, but look at this flank from Cyborg. He melts through both Narcos and Treason. Thankfully, Narcos manages to pick up Palmer on the response, leaving Carnifex in the 1 versus 2, but Boba Slurper are covering each other's backs, and they've got a totem on their side, so they have full control of this 3 versus 3. The Vault is untapped, however, and it looks as though they're committing to trying to find the wipe. Carnifex is just going to wait. They have 3 coins for both Narcos and Treason, so not a huge loss for 5 Fears there. Carnifex almost always finds himself in this exact position, being the last alive and waiting for teams to coin. He's very smart at managing those situations.
Yeah, and it is pretty good to stay alive there, you know, even though, like you said, this is just a Vault fight. But it is nice to try to win this fight, to try to dictate where they take this box, because like you've been pointing out as well, Team Bobasurfer, they are very close range oriented with that SA-12 and that M11, so trying to force them into a box that they can kind of play out more a little bit into the open is going to be more beneficial for 5 Fears. But a little bit of a slower fight breaking out here on the rooftops as the LH1 is not quite going to connect here, and 5 Fears are going to have to back up a little bit. Team Bobasurfer are in a pretty good spot, just kind of controlling where this vault is.
I mean, this is where Treason wants to be, is on Fortune Stadium with an LH1, with Invis, controlling the high ground. Nagiri is matching him on the other side with the same loadout. We're not actually seeing the tracking dart that Treason has made quite popular this season, and I feel as though that's a bow that's been lost to 5 Fears strings, and something that really gave them a lot of control on these long drawn-out fights. We're not seeing it exerted here, as Bobaslurper are free to kind of approach as they will, and there's the distance being closed down by Palme. Shuts the door behind him as the heals are coming in, unfortunately missing a bunch of incoming health. Cyborg does find a kill for himself, and Narco's now left as the only one alive on the side of 5 Fears. Even when Bobaslurper don't look like they've got it together, they still just have the upper hand, and they wipe the floor with 5 Fears for I've lost how many times count now. This is getting ridiculous. It's a very one-sided game, and we really weren't expecting that.
Yeah, we definitely weren't. I mean, especially me, but I mean, Team Bobasurfer, I think they kind of had a plan going in here against 5 Fears and really trying to force those close-range fights. And Palma and Cyborg are just playing so well together, and Nagiri just kind of holding those off angles while he lets his 2 teammates just kind of rush in there with that pedal to the floor, like I keep saying, and just really getting in their face and just shouldering them out of the way.
This reminds me of that Monster Pig versus Takeo 3 versus 3, where we had that adaptation from a telco. The slight micro changes that really make a massive difference in these best of ones that can give you a massive competitive edge over your adversaries. And now, with about 1 minute and 20 left on this box, of course, 5 Fears now need to try and steal it. A massive blow dealt in the direction of Carnifex. He has to retreat fully, a whole building away via that gateway. You see Nagiri ready to pull the trigger, patient, but doesn't actually land the shots, unfortunately. His patience gets the better of him there. But Bobaslurper, they have time on their side, as mentioned. They can break down this goo that they've set up, create a new puzzle for 5 Fears to solve. Look at Cyborg. This is excellent ratting as he unloads that M11, one of the highest DPS weapons in the game, and they don't know where it's coming from. He melts through Carnifex as well. They just cannot keep a lid on Cyborg. Bobaslurper running away with it.
Yeah, like you pointed out there, great positioning. I mean, Cyborg, the newest in the scene of these 6 players, and he is showing up with a bang, literally, in this best of 1 3v3 here. And with that M11 too, kind of almost a staple gun for Carnifex that most people know Carnifex for, and Cyborg turning it into his own.
This is a lost cause now for 5 Fears, as we can see the setup that Bobaslurper have managed to establish. It's an absolute war crime what they've built around that box, and the timing just doesn't work. Not a good enough spawn for 5 Fears. They can't close the distance. Bobaslurper do it in 2 boxes, and in absolutely dominant fashion. Every single team fight won against 5 Fears. That is no mean feat, especially on Fortune Stadium. And they are the 2nd team to book their spot.
Other competitions, but it just wasn't work. They have 3 kills abroad. Oh my god, that is hurting. That is actually hurting my soul. Not a singular revive. They were... That is an absolute crazy of a game. And now you can see it, a wonderful the bracket. Bobaslurper